Hello third graders and welcome to another English lesson. This one is called Wrong or Right Wrap Up. My name is Irena and I will be your English teacher for the day. In several previous lessons we have explored the topic of wrong and right. We have talked about moral dilemmas, we learned how to seek and give opinions, we learned how to express wishes and regrets, and we talked about legal proceedings. Today we will try to put all of that together and achieve the following outcome. Student reports from a trial. The things you will need for today's lesson are, of course, your notebook or a piece of paper and something to write with, and a tablet or computer with internet access. From time to time, I will suggest that you pause the video and do the task that I mentioned. This is the best way to achieve the desired outcome. But before we move on, let's first see how much you remember. We set off by talking about thoughts and emotions in difficult situations. We analyzed moral dilemmas, and we mentioned some of the expressions we need when we talk about them. Do you remember what they mean? Growing need, burning desire, deep-rooted feeling, primal urge, pent-up anger, heartfelt plea. These are just some of them. If you follow the link and open the task, you will find all of these expressions to be used in new contexts. So I suggest that you pause the video now and do the task. We also mentioned different phrases for seeking and giving opinions and asking for clarification. You will now read a conversation between Steve and Lily. Steve texted his friend, asking about her opinion and some help regarding his homework. You will see the texts and you have to read them very carefully to follow the conversation. Here we go. The conversation continues. Okay, so in the text you could notice different ways of seeking and giving opinions, and also asking for clarification. You saw, what do you mean by that? Is that the one? What would you choose? If you ask me, what are you saying? And that's how I'd settle it. If you follow this link or open the code, you will find the texts once again. Why not open them and try to see if you can paraphrase the messages Steve and Lily exchanged. This would be a good way to practice seeking and giving opinions. I suggest you pause the video and do it now. Next, we talked about wishes and regrets. Steve didn't listen to Lily's advice. He was ambivalent about the task and didn't know how to tackle the dilemma, so he didn't submit his assignment. He got an F and now regrets not having done what Lily told him to. Write at least 3 sentences expressing what Steve might be thinking about at the moment. Think of all the structures we used to express wishes and regrets and write the sentences now. Pause the video and do the task. For example, you could have written, I wish I hadn't spent so much time puzzling over the task. Or, if only I had listened to Lily's advice. Or you could have used a third conditional clause. If I had submitted the assignment, I wouldn't have got an F. If you have something like this, you did great. So, Steve chose not to submit the task. It was his decision. Moral dilemmas and other situations, when we have to choose the right thing, often end up making the wrong decision. Sometimes this wrong decision can involve doing something illegal, and things may end up at court. But sometimes people end up at court for doing the right thing as well, and sometimes it is pretty hard to determine what the right choice is. Let's have a look at one such example. A travel agency is organizing an excursion to Barcelona for junior year students. They are supposed to travel in 3 months' time. However, the rival agency is suing the organizer, on the basis of child endangerment due to the COVID-19 situation. The trial is ongoing, so we don't know what is going to happen. So, do you remember the outcome of today's lesson? You are going to be a journalist or a newspaper reporter. But there are some things to consider before you start reporting. Remember, a good journalist collects different opinions about the topic and presents both sides of the story. Be as objective as possible. Think about all the reasons why students should go on their excursion and the reason why they should stay at home. Then, present the situation to a friend. Make sure to find out what he or she thinks about the situation and express your own opinion about the topic. All of these activities will help you to be objective because you will hear different perspectives of the story. It will also be useful to list all the legal proceedings you can think of that can be included in this situation. Think about the plaintiff, the defendant, about their legal representatives, the judge, the jury, and the witnesses. These are all the people and activities we have mentioned when we talk about courtroom proceedings. Write down who does what. You can be as creative as you want, so make up the names of people and places and try to sound as authentic as possible, and put the events into the chronological order. You have an ability to choose between two options for you. The first one is to write a report from the trial in the form of a newspaper article. The second one is to report live for the national news TV channel. So the first one is a writing activity and the second one is a speaking activity. Whatever you choose, think about the following. The journalistic 6, the famous W or H questions that every journalist needs to respond to. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. And also think about the structure. Your report should have a lead sentence, an introduction, opening quotation, main body, closing quotation, and a conclusion. Regardless whether you write or speak, this structure should be followed because it is the best way to keep your audience's interest. Your report should be about 200 words or about 4 minutes long. You can use one of the digital photo editors and make your article look like a page in the newspapers if you're going for the written option, or you can add effects to your video to make it look like a live report. This is a chance for you to express your creativity. You can also use rubrics to help you prepare and later on to self-assess your work. The rubrics are available if you follow the links listed on the screen. One is for writing and the other one is for speaking. If you open the code, you will see the images with the components and the descriptors. But before we finish, there is one more thing I want you to do. Think about today's lesson. Write down 3 things you found interesting, 2 things you disliked, and 1 thing you didn't understand. It will be a great starting point for learning more. I want you to enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. See you. Bye-bye.